Well, Carson Beck returned to Georgia in 2024. He just told Aaron Murray this week that he's not going to be walking out there and giving Kirby Smart a hug for senior night, the senior celebrations that will happen prior to the kickoff against Ole Miss. Look, it's going to be a really special day in Athens. I want to make note of that before we get into it. It's going to be a big day with game day, with it being a night kick, it being senior night, a top 10 matchup. It's going to be incredible. Carson Beck, despite this being his fourth year in college, is redshirt junior. He's really a senior, is choosing not to walk. And we know a lot of players have walked twice, right? When you're not sure what's going to happen, you're not sure if you're going to go to the NFL, you're not sure if you're going to come back and play football for the university again. We've seen people that walk and then end up walking again, and Xavier Truss is an example. He walked last season, and he's going to do that again this season. So there are going to be examples on this version of the team, and Carson Beck opting not to do that, opting not to walk. Did not see if there was much of an explanation. I don't think there was, at least on Aaron's show, but he's choosing not to walk. Does that mean he's going to come back in 2024? Does that mean he just doesn't want to participate in the festivities? Maybe he doesn't want to jinx something and walk and then have to come back and do it again. Maybe that's what Carson Beck's MO is there. But look, at this point in time, I don't know if Carson Beck's going to come back or not. Maybe he doesn't know. Actually, I'll tell you this right now. He doesn't know. If you're Carson Beck, he doesn't know. There are still games to be played. He's obviously eligible to go off to the NFL draft, but he only has a 9-game sample size as a starter in college. And you don't often see just one-year starters get drafted. It doesn't happen too much. But look, if the draft happened today, Carson Beck would get picked. And he wouldn't get picked in the 7th round. It would be earlier than that. He's high on some people's boards. He's not on some people's boards. I've got some analysis to read. I've got my analysis to give to you. And what is the likelihood he actually comes back? Brian Clare from Dawg Post talking about Carson Beck and his NFL draft odds. Is he planning on coming back? Because now we've got the first kind of real nugget in that conversation. It's not a conversation that's been super important. But I think we have the first nugget for it now. Good nugget for you, which this transition made no sense. But sign up for the newsletter because I'm linking it down below and because I asked. So please, because my transition for that was horrible. Link is below. Your email address, you put it into that link and you get all of the insider stories, you get all the premium stories. All of that is in your inbox every single day about the Georgia Bulldogs. You just can't get enough, and we know it. We're trying to get that to you. Beck. So someone on ESPN has him as their number 5 quarterback. Jordan Reed, NFL draft analyst for ESPN, has him as their number 5 quarterback. Todd McShay, a huge draft analyst. I know that Georgia fans don't like Todd McShay very much because of the Jalen Carter stuff, but he's got him pretty high too. I don't know if Todd's got an official ranking out, but I listen to shows that Todd is a guest on, and he's spoken very highly of Carson Beck. So, and look, through 9 games, he's got 2,700 yards, pretty much. Right? What are his exact numbers? Oh my goodness. He's 9th in the country in yards. He's 6th in completion percentage. He's made his mark this year in college football. And Carson may want to be a first-round pick. Would Carson be a first-round pick today? No. Right? Would he be a second-round pick? I'm not sure. I think he'd be a middle-round guy for sure. In 9 games, 27-16, 16 touchdowns to 4 interceptions. He's got a 4-to-1 interception ratio. Let's just look at what this guy has to say. So this is from an analyst perspective on Beck. Not on how good is he in college football. How is he as a pro prospect? I want to read this real quick. I'll be fast. Beck began the season in training camp battle for QB1, and he's now settled into the unquestioned starter. Blah, blah, blah. Doesn't have the starts. Is behind Stetson Bennett. Here we go. In 9 games this season, he's got those stats that I just read off to you. He has a quick release and operates from a strong base, and Beck has mature eye discipline showing efficiency and getting through multi-step progressions. Yes, We have seen Carson Beck do this. We've seen him step up in the pocket and wrap over people's head with the ball and duck. We've seen good pocket maneuvering. Wow, we've seen good pocket maneuvering from Carson Beck. I think we've seen discipline with the football for the most part, minus what Kirby would say is 1 to 2 plays a game where it's like, Carson, what are you doing? And I think it's around that. Well, he is 6'4". He's got the frame. He's definitely got arm strength. He's got accuracy. He's got a quick release. He's got good form. He's got solid feet. He is not elite. He does not have elite mobility. He can take off if needs to. If there's space, he can take off. What does he need to get better at? I think that eliminating those types of throws, and I think that comes with more experience as a starter. Here's the thing about Carson Beck. As far as a starting caliber quarterback at this level, he just hasn't done it that much. He's only done it 9 times. And so we've seen him grow and fight through things, and he's had setbacks here and there. I think with Carson, he's not this dazzling, have-to-have-him guy at the top of the draft. He's not that. But he's a really good quarterback that I think is going to get drafted at some point in time, whether it be 24 or 25. Where does this guy think Carson Beck needs to work on? Because he needs to work on connecting the deep balls. Not all his fault. What I will say is not all his fault, but he needs to work on connecting some of those deep balls because some of them are just not accurate. Let's be honest. The ball's just not where it's supposed to be. I think he's been pretty good under pressure, to be honest. With only 9 starts to his career, Beck is still feeling his way around. Just said that. One spot where I've seen some inconsistency is his ball placement on downfield throws. Just said that. I actually hadn't read this yet. Beck has completed 39% of his passes, thrown 20-plus air yards on 41 attempts, and his 34.1% off-target rate on such passes ranks 63rd in the FBS. Well, I guess I could have written that analysis. Beck got to connect on the deep balls a little bit more. And here's the other thing I want to say, and it's something with Stetson too. There are times where Beck gets bailed out by how talented the receivers are around him. Brock Bowers is really good. Marcus Osme-Jackson is very, very, very good ball skills. Oscar Delp has made some incredible catches this year. Lab McConkey has made a couple of incredible catches. I'm not talking about after the catch. I'm talking about the actual catch. There are some plays where Carson's behind and he gets bailed out by his receivers because they're very, very good. And I think you want to eliminate some of those if you're Beck, because when people are watching on tape and they see that over and over again, which I'm not saying it's over and over again, but it's a little bit more than you'd like if we're talking about an NFL caliber quarterback. Remember that. We're talking about if this guy can play in the league. We're not talking about if he can play at Georgia. He's doing that. He's doing that at a high level. The dude could be a Heisman finalist here in a few weeks. That's on the table for Carson Beck. And I tell you what, Carson Beck's a Heisman finalist. I don't think the guy's coming back. I'm not sure if the guy's coming back if he's played his way to New York. And if Georgia's possibly winning a national championship, I'd imagine a big part of that has to do with Carson Beck. If you're Carson, you got to evaluate this. You've got this Ole Miss game. You've got at Tennessee, can be a big one. You've got Tech, so you got those 3. And you've got at least one more, because at this point in time, nothing is certain. Georgia has not locked up an SEC championship spot or a playoff spot. So what is certain is there are 4 more games. And 2 of them being on a big stage for sure. The 4th one will be on a big stage no matter what it is. And there might be a 5th one. And there might be a 6th one. And that'd be even extra starting experience, numbers, eye test, all of that for Beck. So at this point in time, we can't know if Carson Beck is going to come back or not, because there's just not enough sample size. What I tell you is, I'm looking at these draft rankings. I've got CBS's draft rankings, which don't include Beck on it. And here's what I'd say. I would take Caleb Williams over him. I would take Drake May over him. And then the conversation begins with Michael Penix. I'd probably go, is it Penix or Penix? Everyone's pronouncing it differently. It's starting to bother me a little bit. I'm going to go Penix for the rest of this video. Look, the only thing about Penix is got a little bit of age on Carson, got injury history on Carson. Those things are not good in Penix's favor. The arm talent's for real. The arm talent is for real with Michael Penix Jr. Is Bo Nix a serious NFL candidate? these are the guys that Carson Beck's competing with. Quinn Ewers, Jaden Daniels, Riley Leonard, Spencer Rattler. Carson Beck can beat those guys out. That's what's still on the table here over the next few weeks. Now, those guys can also help their stock. They're going to test better than him from a physical standpoint. But look, he's just as good a quarterback as those guys. He doesn't have their numbers. He doesn't have their physical standpoint. I think Quinn Ewers might have to come back. I don't think that, yeah. There's been this notion that Quinn Ewers is this lock to go. I don't know. Maybe it's a me thing. I'm just not sold on the guy quite yet. I think he deserves to be Texas' starter and all that. I'm not sold on him as an NFL guy at this point in time. So for Beck, I just think it's crazy that Beck's not walking. I don't know. I think it's crazy he's not walking because I think there's a good chance he goes to the draft. And we'll talk about possibilities if he actually stays. I want to talk about more as, what would it take for him to go? He continues to play the way he's doing and just, getting better here and there. I don't know why an NFL team wouldn't want to take a chance on him. The guy would get drafted somewhere between round 3 and 5 or 6 at this point in time. And he's got more to prove that with. He's got more time to make that better. And to be honest with you, I think he would, he starts throwing in front of these pro days, right? You know what I'm talking about? He would improve his stock. And he'd likely improve his stock with those interviews as well. Thanks for watching. This was a Carson Beck conversation. Is he coming back? He's hinting at it.